Awesome. So we are live on our Facebook page. Hello everyone. Really sorry for the slight delay. Technology sometimes also make it difficult for us to function. I have Melissa with us today, and we wanted to talk about the opportunities in blockchain and Web3. I got to know Melissa recently and about her amazing work through a mutual fellow of ours, and she's doing a lot of amazing stuff, and I would really like her to talk to us about the work that she has been doing. And instead of reading like a very long intro of her, I would let her maybe start with a brief introduction.
Thank you so much, Faiza. It's really a pleasure to be in your program and to talk to women in tech in Pakistan. Well, to talk about myself, I can basically say I'm the founder and the CEO of Satoshi 21, which is a consultancy firm for blockchain companies mainly. And then we organize educational events, hosting keynotes, and basically aggregating partnerships to foster relationships and to contribute to each other's success since the last 3 years. Recently, we opened a tech hub in Indonesia, Bali, and with a focus of Web3 and AI. And my background is basically mathematics and philosophy. So I studied mathematics and philosophy all my life, and then started doing my master's studying cognitive sciences, which was the time AI was like just starting to get popular. But I always took philosophy and mathematics dear to my heart, just because of the simple reason that values and finding mathematical relations between phenomenon can improve our lives, basically, our personal lives as individuals, our professional lives, and the way we interact with our surroundings. So I was always pretty much very interested in solving societal problems with technology, sciences, and I'm coming from Turkey, Istanbul, and the last decades, basically, we've seen a lot in the region, in our countries, and a lot of improvement in terms of the last 50 years in terms of the closing the access gap, but mainly talking about the regional problems. I think technology has still a lot to offer to countries like ours. So that's why I also care a lot this conversation, because we are coming from more or less similar pain points, more or less similar problems, and we observe the same things. Even if we don't experience ourselves, we are coming from the same pool of stories. So collaboration and reciprocating what we see from each other is at the very heart of what we're doing. And blockchain, AI, and other technological mediums are just a tool to actually contribute to each other's success and build more collaborative workspaces globally.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, tell us a little bit about the organization. So let's maybe start with Satoshi 21, and what exactly do you guys do? What are the offerings there? And then maybe we can move towards, Web3 Hub Art and talk a little bit more about the project in Bali.
Sure. So Satoshi 21, Satoshi is the creator of Bitcoin, and 21 is the limited supply of Bitcoin. The reason is that for me it's very special because Satoshi is finding a mathematical solution to a societal financial problem. And that is basically the initiator of using technology to solve a problem on a global scale. and doing it for financial in the financial domain. And that is basically the main opportunity. We're trying to increase the awareness among global communities to take the chance to become that borderless citizen using the available technologies, financial mediums, and use it for improved business models and stronger communities, basically. So what Satoshi 21 does, the last 3 years we were organizing, we are now 1,800 founders, C-levels, entrepreneurs, investors, developers, community all around the world. And we are mainly operating in Bali, Indonesia, Jakarta, Philippines, Manila, and KL, Malaysia. But now we are actually like building more and more connections in the Southeast Asia region and Middle East. The main the main point of Satoshi 21 is to provide this open space for collaboration and to use the information sharing opportunities to actually contribute to each other's success, because eventually the community is a group of people who are not only responsible of their own success, but also share the opportunities. So there's actually a collective chances, because that may also turn back and create an opportunity for us in a later stage. So basically, there's a community, and we organize events, specifically keynotes, mentorship for specific projects. And now with the Web3 hub, let's say, now with the with our physical location, what we are trying to aim is to create a hub where we use our resources in a more structured way, basically, to create talents, to contribute to the next generation web professionals' careers, and slowly incubate projects, and 100% using the resources of the community, basically. So it's kind of a partnership aggregator, let's say. We try to foster these connections, and also I think community is a very underestimated side effect, let's say, of cryptocurrencies. Normally, everybody thinks about, oh, it's trading, it's risky and everything, but actually, because it's a global opportunity, cryptocurrencies created, starting with Bitcoin firm, it created this support circle, because when we're talking about, and I'm always trying to highlight these concepts that may not be so important for some countries, but for us it's very relevant, because self-sovereignty, when we're talking about self-sovereignty, well, it's a great opportunity. You can own your own assets. You can run your financial operations in a censorship-resistant manner. But also it comes with a lot of risks, because as like traditionally us women, we don't have these habits or experience. We are not traditionally gambling with a lot of money and risking that, or like resistant to these stresses. So when you have this global community, you always have someone who did this before, so you can avoid these mistakes doing yourself. So there's a collective support circle and a collective consciousness where you can actually avoid repeating the same mistakes. And this is on the individual level. And when you think about it for entrepreneurs, talents, projects, of course, if you are in a community where someone else before built that business or dealt with it, then you can actually reduce the risks of running your own business with this shared opportunity. So that's what we are aiming for.
Awesome. Absolutely. So, coming from one community builder to another, people do underestimate the power of people coming together for a shared interest or a shared goal. It's really important. You touched it upon a little bit about you coming to the blockchain as a professional. But because a lot of women do kind of shy away from STEM as as a career option. So, what was your motivation behind getting into mathematics and then deciding to get into the blockchain space?
Thank you for that question because it's, usually the personal side of the story is lost, but there's actually a real solution to a problem usually when it's blockchain. Well, first of all, throughout all my journey, I was actually like until the age of 28, I was thinking like I was aiming always for academic career first and then business and everything. But so I actually learned about blockchain when I started my cognitive sciences master's, taking classes from computer science department, and actually it was ideological and technology based, my involvement before professional or investment wise, basically. And the same reasons that I didn't have the habit of like using the financial tools that might turn into investment way, basically. So I wrote one day, I knew about the technology, I was excited about Bitcoin, the decentralization, because that was more or less the time of democracy kind of turning into the tyranny of the elected. So it was very hot topic for us, actually, very relevant for university students. So we were more interested in how a financial system can be constructed in a totally decentralized, non-governmental way among people, basically. So the ideology and the technology I started learning, and it took me a couple of years actually to have my own Bitcoin for the first time. I wrote one white paper, and that was purely because that was something I was doing as a side job, as a freelancer, writing some articles and everything. And they said, like, you're gonna get paid in Bitcoin. I think it was about $200 at the time. And so basically, I couldn't spend for so long because I didn't know how to. I mean, I had these things, yeah. But when I built my first business in the UK, that was targeting using quantitative data structures, quantitative data driven models to help early age startups with sustainable products, basically, to build their roadmap and business model, and to get to a point of getting funding, basically. So, but then in that was just starting and I really enjoyed it, but very soon I kind of realized for me sustainability was very important, not for environmental purposes, but for more societal problems, first of all. So I was, although I was not a finance related person, I wanted to solve real problems for people, for the society, basically. And then slowly, blockchain and cryptocurrencies, with actually the rise of decentralized autonomous organizations, when DAOs were slowly getting more popular to take the place of companies and organizations, that was when I actually started slowly shifting to blockchain and cryptocurrency projects to work with them, basically. And so I was doing consultancy for setting the businesses, but so there are actually many ways. So now we want to, I mean, starting from next month, we're building a community management, community building and community management programs for individuals. And I think this is a very good opportunity for women specifically, but anyone who actually is good with communication and because okay, it's technology, it's finance, everything that is a little bit intimidating, but it's not eventually a rocket science. It's nothing anyone cannot learn. Okay, trading and everything is still high risk, and if you don't have those muscles built, you may not enjoy and throw yourself for financial purposes right away. But first of all, cryptocurrencies and blockchain environment or AI projects, these are all startups eventually. Decentralized startups, most of them, but these are projects, and cryptocurrency is above all a fundraising opportunity for a technological or not that important technology product, basically the purely trading product. I think we have that, like, as women. I don't want to like talk in terms of stereotypical terms, but traditionally we have that tendency to create value for as many as possible, and cryptocurrencies basically is all about that. Because instead of convincing one person with capital when you're building a startup, if you want to fundraise with cryptocurrencies, you need to raise from thousands of people. And that means you need to provide a value for a person who would put $100, who put a couple of $100, as well as a couple of people with $100,000. And these are different values. You need to convince a community, basically. So you need to create an economy where everybody with different proportions find some value to put their time, money, and efforts. And that's why the finance and community is very much aligned with cryptocurrencies. And when you see it this way, it's actually a great industry to be in and to contribute to the growth of, basically. And the opportunities, because it's like Web3 is a global business, it's you can get hired from anywhere, and that's for countries with hyperinflation or not stable financial status. This is very important for people to actually work in a project that's in another country without in a remote way, and still provide living for their families, for their surroundings, and for themselves, basically. So the remoteness also is very important. So professional career in Web3, and it's still like super early ages of this, basically, and the opportunities are endless. Most of the things we are talking about is almost just a vision, basically, not really even opportunity yet. And we are here to make it possible and make it accessible for everyone to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. So more like a vision or a plan to uh, achieve something, which is again, which requires a lot of work. You mentioned early stage projects and startups and the work that you're doing, to support them. What are generally the main challenges of advising these early stage projects and startups?
Um, one of the main challenges is people don't listen, although they pay for your expert opinion. It's first of all, because it's crypto, people had, especially the last couple of years, with the hype after pandemic, there was this idea that, like, okay, it's crypto, it's easy to fundraise, it's easy to launch a project, it's not the traditional startup structure, you don't need to run like the thousands of financial, but it's not like that. It's eventually, if you want it to be sustainably successful, eventually you need that expertise, you need that expert opinion, and you need that conscious, diligent approach to build your tokenomics, your financial models, and you need a business model. It's still a business. It needs to, although you convince thousands of people, you still need to provide them value so they can actually keep keep your token. And it's in economic terms, it can provide value, and your project can be there in 5 to 10 years. The second challenge is the remote opportunities, because when the world is going towards a direction where it's decentralized, we don't share the workspace and everything, it's getting harder and harder to build the trust in that work environment and keep the connections. It's almost like keeping a long distance relationship with more than 10 people. You need to update them, you need to communicate more effectively, you need to check if you're on the same page. And when you're building a startup, when the stress and all the requirements is too high, until the funding, and after funding there comes a total different range of difficulties. You need to invest in those relationships because it's usually remote in that sense. And but I think pitch deck, for instance, that's also another thing. People generally see a pitch deck as kind of a conviction kit for the investors, but that's actually the most important thing for the founders and the team themselves. We need to know our numbers, we need to know the business models, we need to be adaptive to change it to because cryptocurrencies and the now new tech gives us like way more cheaper and faster opportunity to experiment with the idea. 50 years ago, it was way harder and way slower to actually find an idea and try to, like, you had 1 or 2 chances in a lifetime, basically. Now you have many. But for that, the resilience also, we have a bigger capacity. We also need to build that resilience and know what we are pitching, the business model behind, the plan B, plan the D, E sometimes, and that flexibility very well before we fundraise. And because most projects, even if they successfully fundraise, either they raise too much, either they raise too low, that doesn't allow them to actually launch the product for motivational reasons, or they just like bankrupt. So eventually that causes a lot of trust from people. We are always talking about blockchain as a trustless industry. Yes, it removes trust. You don't need to trust another person to do transactions. But eventually, if you're working with people, you need to still build that trust. And I think that's a little bit underestimated in crypto world, that we're now operating totally trustless and we don't need to trust each other. No, we need even more, because now working with whoever in the world is possible. And those people who from countries you've never been, that you don't know their culture, would invest in your projects. And if you cannot communicate your roadmap, if you cannot explain the products, keep tighter community relationships, what you have in the end is a very angry mob. And that's very hard for founders, especially in the young ages, because sticking up with the values and communicating what's happening in your startup, it's hard by itself, and communicating that with a couple of 100,000 people, it's way harder dealing. It's kind of like you have your little celebrity life, and that comes with people's investments. And so these actually like depends heavily on mentorship and looking at the examples. And we still don't have an MBA for crypto, AI, and the new web startups. So it's kind of heavily depending on our interactions and what we can bring each other as mentors or collaborators, and with the same community, basically using the resources together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Agree 100%. And again, we need to err on the side of over communication to make sure that everybody is on the same page. And No matter how much I myself glorify remote work, at the end of the day, it is really rough. The reason being that you need to spend a lot of time in getting to know people. Things that used to happen very naturally in an office space, now you need to basically invest time in it. So it's a very, very different, it has become a different space. So one thing that's really kind of important in the kind of era that we are in is about sustainability. And we do hear a lot of debates around blockchain being sustainable, and then there is another argument that it's not. It is heavily, it consumes a lot of energy, and it's like really bad for the environment. So, are there any kind of initiatives, or is there any research that's been done in the area where we see blockchain in relation to sustainability, and then, of course, global SDGs?
Thank you so much for the question. This is a topic that can go on actually for hours of discussion, obviously. And I'm going to be 100% honest because I care about sustainability, and we need to also fight with the general ideas and stigma. As a Well, Bitcoin proof of work and consensus model is very super high energy consumption for the security of the network. But now we have different models, and we don't need to process that much redundant information to provide security. But that comes with a trade-off, like the proof of state. The consensus model is not as much as secure and decentralized as Bitcoin network is, basically. So there are different, like, and this is not really kind of I mean, if you're talking about like 10, 20 years of the industry, it's still like very early age. So these are mathematical, technological inventions. We need to like keep inventing, and the projects come like with these solutions. So that's definitely a problem, $1 million problem. If we can increase the security of the of any blockchain, coming up with a different consensus and a different way to implement it, less and way more energy effective, and way more secure than existing ones, that would be $1 billion project, basically. Then there are other, so that's the inherent discussion for cryptocurrencies and blockchain. But we always need to think, if when we're advocating for decentralization, we need to also ask ourselves if it's really needed. For some things, I mean, if you're going to run a local shop, like, it's not really needed to do it in a decentralized way. So if decentralization is really relevant and necessary for what you are doing, is really important to decide. And in the same way, which blockchain, which cryptocurrencies to choose to actually build the project on is really important. Sometimes, I mean, most people actually choose cryptocurrencies for just purely fundraising purposes. And most sustainability related projects are actually just NFT sales, and use that project to build a forest or to donate to charity kind of projects, basically. But the real sustainability aspect is actually, I think, more important to expect from blockchain, is the stronger communities, stronger and more resilient communities, and better economical structures and organizations, reducing the access gap, education for technology, because it is not a banking module, so you can actually really bring it to the villages, bring it to the like with a smartphone. Okay, there's still some barriers, but you can actually bring those financial modules to anywhere with like electricity, internet, and a smartphone. You don't need banking systems. You don't need those people even to have IDs or passports, basically. So on the social and economic level, I think blockchain and cryptocurrencies meet global SDGs way better than the environmental aspects of it. But there are good projects like climate change, carbon credits markets, although this is very hard to assess if carbon credit market has any positive impact in climate change, which I very much doubt. But it's a huge industry, basically, and it provides some funding for carbon sequestrating projects. So it's kind of creates that support circle, basically. But I think for environmental goals, there's still a huge space for innovation, and that can be a good opportunity for any entrepreneur who wants to come up with an idea and work on it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. That again, you mentioned a lot of social impact work. That was my next question. So in the startups that you are advising and mentoring and working with, are there any specific social impact based startups that are really close to your heart and you feel that this is the kind of work that can change a lot of lives?
Actually, for the sustainability, so I'm gonna talk about three projects. There are two regeneration-based projects that are coming out from Bali community, and because eventually the idea is to set the hub. Kind of a region hub, because sustainability even is a little bit getting outdated. We need to create business models that regenerates itself and the nature and everything instead of just sustaining it. But we have three projects. One is social impact related, decentralized volunteering platform. They're basically incentivizing volunteering. And I'm an advisor there, Devo, and a brilliant team, delivering on time. And it's been 2 years they're following the roadmap. And what they're basically doing, if you, as a little company, as an individual, you can incentivize volunteering, basically. This is different than recruiting people, because in volunteering, even if you incentivize, it doesn't match the skills, basically. The compensation can be like, and people come usually for just volunteering purposes to contribute their efforts and knowledge, but eventually if they can get something out of it, you might even turn it into a community reputation or some sort of a badge, and people to, like, something that people can actually use and show and use as a value, basically. So that kind of a value ecosystem, I think it's very important in social impact space, because eventually social impact starts with actually ecofeminist point of not seeing everything in terms of just profit, because value is also some sort of a profit, but it's not necessarily a financial thing. So with blockchain, you can actually capture different values that are not necessarily financial. And the other two is, one is PlantDApp, and it's basically vertical garden building structures, and the other one is Green Chain. So when we're talking about the energy sustainability related projects combined with blockchain, I think the real power is storage. It can be distributed storage. Might not be so much scalable if you think about the like big data, basically. compared to centralized versions. But the real power comes with the power of people. You can reach with that specific solution, vertical gardens or your energy effective transaction app, or the technology. You can with that local solution, you can reach out to anyone in the world, and with that community, actually you can do something to change, to improve that condition in a global way. So finding solutions, and that's what we are aiming for, basically, finding interesting and outstanding ideas regionally and make them globally relevant, if they are providing value to solve other people's local problems in the same way as well. So yeah, so social impact is definitely comes with the power of global borderless communities and their shared pain points, basically.
Absolutely. These were really interesting ideas. I think the volunteering platform is something that's um, really amazing because I do work with a lot of volunteers and I also volunteer a lot. So that would be
Amazing.
something. Yeah. So I think that's
Actually,
my,
one
yeah.
Actually, just to add, like for instance, Human Rights Foundation also encourage Bitcoin projects, basically for, and now like there are wars and uh, just the use of cryptocurrencies can actually make change in some people's life, which on the other, because it creates a civil initiative, and you don't need to actually get the approvals. And like when a couple of years ago, well, I mean, not that young anymore, maybe 10 years ago, when we were trying to collect some help to send to the Eastern Turkey, to help the people running from ISIS, basically, at that time. And there were pregnant women coming to the cities every day and fleeing from ISIS violence. It took us, we were just trying to like gather some money to basically support their kids and women's basic needs, and it took ages, like, and with the working with women organizations and everything, it was impossible. And you cannot even know the losses in between, trying to, like, even if you have the cash, trying to make sure that money actually lends to those who need it in the same country. It was super hard. So actually cryptocurrencies bring a civil initiative, and we saw that actually this year, during the earthquake in Turkey, basically in a couple of minutes, like millions of dollars, people gathered all around the world to help the people get their basics, basically. Yeah, I just wanted to point out that for civil initiatives, it's actually just a great tool without even any projects and technology out there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So the last question that I have for you, and then I have a couple of questions that people have left on the webinar that I'm going to ask. So you and I, we spoke about remote opportunities today also, earlier also, and we do have a lot of tech talent in Pakistan. A lot of people work in the tech industry, a lot of people work as freelancers, and people are always looking for remote opportunities, especially women, because we are a traditionally, a culturally very conservative country. So a lot of women find it difficult to get outside. Public transportation is almost non-existent. So it's also difficult for women to travel, and there are a lot of safety issues also. So women are more inclined towards remote opportunities where they can work online and become, economically empowered. So are there any employment opportunities available coming from the communities that you run, or the startups that you advise, that that can help these women in terms of finding employment, and maybe we can some of the opportunities later on with them to see and apply.
Definitely amazing. this is one of the first discussions we had with you to how to actually improve and share resources in with key takeaways and action plan basically. And I think sharing the recruiting options is the first step to take. And because for tech, it's kind of a little bit, it takes time and for the projects to hire and make the right decision and the project management and everything. And there's an opportunity for the projects in our pool also in the community to provide tech-related services as well, definitely. But I also would like to extend this opportunity for those specifically who want to do more soft skills as well, project management, community management, community building, and these are actually like do this, get paid, kind of like a very freelance, very easy to fulfill opportunities, and project management, community building, and social media and general overall online marketing opportunities, because you can actually just set the expectations very easy and for like just contributing. And we are going to start that actually to start if you mainly present an article meeting the criteria, you immediately get the scholarship to attend the courses or different vouchers, and also some different scholarship to attend the global conferences, which our partner HERDAO is also doing that for blockchain developers around the globe, basically. So this is we can definitely provide the job opportunities and kind of a mixed module. We can get the projects if it's kind of a larger project. We manage the different outsourced talents to contribute to a single project, or just basically bring the hiring opportunity to the women in Pakistan. And there are also the community and other more soft skill related things that is like submit and get paid kind of opportunities. So whoever is interested can reach me, reach you, and we would be happy to bring that opportunity to your network.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Melissa. I have two questions.
Pleasure.
I actually have, I think, 7 questions from the audience, but most of them you have answered already. I'm going to ask 2 questions that I think are really interesting. One of the question is that, are there any gender-specific challenges in founding or starting a Web3 or crypto project?
On top of the existing ones, I guess, right? Well,
Yeah.
Web3 is, I think, without being too negative, how to answer that. I think one of the still the hardest part of it is basically now the women founders or women activists or the women leaders are actually taking the chance to work in projects that raise a lot of money or that runs a global community, and sorry, this creates this is not an expected, especially in the countries where we're coming from. This is not really expected to see from a woman sometimes. So it might change the power dynamics, and when even if you were actually if you were a man, you would do or say exactly the same things. Because you're women, and now you have the community of a couple of hundred people or a couple of 100,000 people, that power structure can actually block the negotiation sometimes because of the well, what men would do for purely professional purposes, you might be interpreted as being manipulative or profit driven and everything, whereas when a man did that, it would be totally normal because like men do business, right? So it's still actually the same type of mentality and the conceptuals, and most of the time, like men or women, we are not actually aware that we are actually acting with these perceptions and everything. I think it's more or less the same thing with traditional businesses. And the good thing is, I think one positive aspect of it is that most global projects don't even know the gender sometimes when they're doing the hiring processes, because it's web and remote basically. So that's a amazing opportunity, and you cannot really assess the person's skills because their interviews cannot be just like that, face to face. So there's actually a benefit of decentralized and sometimes even anonymous. There are so many projects where you cannot reveal your identity. So it's kind of like for underrepresented groups, and generally it's a huge opportunity, I think. But yes, actually, if you're more playing for the power roles, that's always the main thing, and I think it's kind of all around the same whenever you're actually asking for what you deserve, what's your value. Other parties can feel easily well, oh, they're profit driven and that, because you are expected to be way nicer, way obedient. And yeah, most people don't even realize that. But I think the thing is, you just need to like just be nice, yeah, nicely assertive basically, and don't get this like step back just because there's a social stigma of women to be more easygoing. Being professional doesn't have a gender.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. 100% relate to that. Being called a lot of names because of that. That and parcel of the work that we do, absolutely. Another question that I really, liked. I think that's a very good question. Um, so they're asking that what are the problems that blockchain can solve for marginalized people or people with any kind of disability?
Yes, amazing. So because inclusivity is at the key actually. So for well, maybe let's just open up the question a bit. Normally, everything that comes with a on-site work requirements. Basically, you need to go to work, you need to use the public transport, you need to present as a salesperson. So you're expected to be like likable to a degree, and a lot of expectations, and people are discriminated based on the requirements, or that's basically sale performance actually. You need to be effectively at work and everything, and what we are generally talking about the marginalized society members, like disabled, but also the ethnic groups, also single mothers. I think it's basically one of the most challenging group in tech industry specifically, and also in Web3, because Web3 is basically it means a lot of events and late night events. You don't know the like what time and everything. So when you're a single mother and you are expected the same standards of performance, and when you cannot go to these things, like it immediately can be labeled as your low performance basically. and almost you're expected to fail at these things. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I think what Web3 is like, blockchain is trying to do is quantifying the work, basically. That's why I was super excited about decentralized autonomous organizations. And I was thinking like, wow, okay, that's going to take it's going to create a global workspace, and it's going to take the space of companies, basically. And what it does, but so far it only can achieve this for developers, basically. What developers do, the task is so specific, either it like your code either works or it doesn't, so it just passes, basically, or it doesn't function, so you cannot fulfill the task. So if we can quantify, if we can make the task clear, then we don't need these other prejudice or discriminative behaviors in recruiting, basically. So I think the biggest opportunity Web3 and blockchain provides is for quantified jobs like this, like well-defined actions, so anyone can do it and it's the same result. It's a little bit more harder when it comes to kind of like sale, presentation, pitch, customer relationships, community manager. Whenever it's more content related, it is still harder, but I think that language, you still, I mean, the appearance wouldn't be that important. So compared to traditional workspace, web still has these opportunities. And the biggest, obviously, the biggest importance, the essence of it is to get paid, basically. Well, to turn that into fiat is still an issue in like most of the countries, basically. You in most countries, you would still use the peer-to-peer OTC, basically. But eventually, for anyone to send you any money for your work you did in, let's say, Bangladesh, Bali, Istanbul, being in being in Pakistan, you don't need a bank account. You don't need to fulfill any of these requirements to actually receive a payment. And I think it's instant. You can just fulfill. It's like the box is ticked, and you get the payments, basically. So I think that provides a larger scale of job opportunities to global communities, basically. For specifically for ethnic groups also, because the result eventually is going to be a global thing. I think that diversity has a very important factor in defining the success of the project, because if you're targeting a global audience and your team is a diverse team, that's actually a way stronger position to have, rather than running a little shop in a regionally located place. There you may want to have the same people, the similar culture, the language and everything. But if you're running a global tech company, you may want to hire like from all around the world, and with different ideas, with different cultures, different backgrounds, and so that you actually have a stronger ties, because you would don't want to miss any class in the globe, basically. If you want your investors from any ethnic group, if you want the handicaps, if you want the people like women, you wouldn't miss that societal structure, basically, and you would also have them in your project and provide the investment opportunities to them, so it's actually more balanced projects, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, we all understand understand that having diverse voices in an organization means more money. It makes complete business
Definitely,
sense. Yeah.
definitely, and it's stronger also because if you are running your company, if you have an effective communication within your team, um, someone would voice that up if they are sharing the other person's the other classes pain points basically. And I think the actual point of the for instance, it's very hard for people to understand bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies and blockchain benefits mostly because they never had the challenges in the first place. So they think, oh, okay, it's cheaper transaction. Yeah, okay, like, well, okay, that's good, but like, they may at that point they may actually choose to like, well, okay, I'll pay more, but I do it this way because they are not aware of the challenges of not having a bank account, not being able to actually use the other financial modules, or not being able to like even buy a house because like in many countries, like women still cannot buy a house or other assets basically. If you're not familiar with those pain points, innovation is also restricted, and also the use cases, the people's mass adoption is also restricted. So having different opinions, diversities, and familiarity with different pain points is the diversity is key for success, I would say, in this age.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think these were all the questions. For people who are asking repeated questions, you will have to go and replay the whole discussion, listen to Melissa talk about it. Thank you so much, Melissa, for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. Um, I am going to send you the link to the webinar from our Facebook page so you can share it with your communities also. And we'll make sure that we do some virtual events and sessions with women in Pakistan with your community so that they both
Would be
can get
amazing.
exposure and learn about each other.
Would be amazing. Thank you so much, Faiza. I would say first of many, as we talk always. And thank you so much for prompt action and to invite me to your program. And looking forward to expand our collaboration and anyone, anytime, with for any advice or any pain point, any opportunity from the community can reach me. And thank you so much. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.